Today we're doing a side-by-side comparison of the Loom Leaf by Sattva and the Tempurpedic Cloud Supreme. So we've got a lot of good information to share with you today. We're going to go over how each of these are constructed. We'll do some tests for you, pressure mapping, and then we'll talk about who we think should give each of these mattresses a try and who might not want to give each of these mattresses a try. So all right, we'll go ahead and get started first on the construction. All right, so first up, we'll discuss the construction of each of these. Now, they're each a foam mattress that utilize memory foam. Each of them has a couple distinct features that the other doesn't. Because I cannot unzip this one to show you the inside, and because I don't want to cut the fire sock on the Tempurpedic to show you the inside of the foams on that, we'll jump over to my computer. I've got some pictures. We'll break down the inside of each of these, and then after that, we'll jump back over here to finish up the review. All right, guys, so we'll start off by talking about the Loom Leaf. So it starts off on the cover with an organic cotton cover that has a quilting foam quilted into the cover of the mattress. That's going to provide a little extra cushioning on the very top of the mattress and perhaps a little bit more of a traditional mattress feel. It might hold you up a little bit more than just a thinner cover. Underneath that is a 2-inch gel-infused memory foam layer that's also convoluted. You can see the little channels in there, the arrow points to that. That is going to help provide airflow and cooling for the mattress. And then on top of that layer, there's a poured gel that they call a spinal cooling gel in the center third of the mattress. That is also a feature that's going to aid in cooling, where most of the body heat is going to be on your body, in the center third of your body. And that 2-inch gel-infused memory foam layer is a 4-pound density, so it's a good high-quality memory foam. The next layer is a 5-pound regular memory foam layer, and then you have a 2-inch transitional layer that will kind of ease you into that foam core, and then 5.5-inch foam core. So you have a total of 4 inches of premium memory foam on the mattress, as well as the quilt on the top. All right, guys, so next up we'll talk about the Tempurpedic Cloud Supreme. So if you visit their website, they're a little bit vague about how thick each layer is and what exactly each layer is, but generally you're going to have the temper material in the Tempurpedic mattress, which is a memory foam, and generally a 5-pound memory foam. On this mattress in particular, it starts off with a removable zip-off cover. The top 1 inch or so is a memory foam, but it's a little bit softer memory foam than what is underneath in the next 2 layers. So that softer memory foam is designed to kind of ease you into that higher density 5-pound memory foam that you're going to find on the support layer D. And then E is going to be another layer of memory foam, followed up by the foam core. So you're seeing about 4 inches of temper material on the top support layers. They don't disclose these layers thicknesses very freely, so part of this is a little bit of an estimate. So if you have any concerns or questions or comments on that, feel free to drop me a message in the comments. All right, guys, so now we'll just talk about how each of these feel as I lay down on them, and then I'll point out a couple things just to keep in mind with some differences on these things. So first of all, the Loom Leaf has this quilt on the top. So it's got extra quilting foam quilted into the cover. That's going to give you a little bit more cushioning on the very top, and perhaps a little bit more of a traditional feel. And what I personally like about having a quilt on a memory foam mattress like this is I feel like it holds you up a little bit more versus having more of a sinking feeling. And so I personally really like having a quilt on the top. And I think it gives you a little bit more of a substantial feel on the very top of the mattress. Not everybody will like feeling the quilt, but I don't run into that with very many customers at my store, so it shouldn't be an issue for you. But some people like more of a smooth cover like this. So this just has the thin zip-on cover. It's going to be a breathable cover, removable. That's the one plus here is you can wash the cover. I would always still recommend using a waterproof, spill-proof mattress protector either way, because it's going to prevent getting sweat stains on the mattresses. The idea there is if you do get any stains on your mattress, your warranty is 100% void. So although you can wash the cover, I still would put a mattress protector on there either way. So I'll just simply lay down here quick on the Tempurpedic. So as I talked about in the construction, This top 1-inch layer is a little bit softer memory foam than what you'll find on the next 2 layers. So that will kind of ease you a little bit into that 5-pound really dense memory foam. So when the first time I laid down on this, I just kind of plopped down and I thought initially like, wow, this is firm. But as you lay here, if you give it a few seconds, you sink in, and I still kind of feel like I'm having a slow sinking in feeling. Once you are into the mattress and your body's conformed in, it doesn't feel as firm as it initially does right when you first lay down on it, but it's still on the firmer side. I'd say about a 7 out of 10, with 10 being the firmest. Being that it has the amount of premium foams in it, it still works good, although it is firmer. It still works good for side sleeping, and it works great for stomach and back sleeping as well. But you get more of a true memory foam feel on this, where you kind of slowly sink in. It's going to be a little bit harder to adjust positions, being that you have so much memory foam in there. But it's not terribly hard, but it's definitely a true memory foam feel. So if we take a look at the Loom and Leaf now, you're going to have approximately the same amount of premium memory foams in there. However, this is going to also have the quilt on the top. So you've got that extra quilting foam in here. So what that's going to do, for me personally, I really like a quilt. I've said that on many of my reviews. This is going to give you a little bit more of a feeling that you're being held up a little bit more versus that slower sinking feeling. And for me, I feel like it gives it a little more substantial feel on the very top, and perhaps a little bit more of a traditional feel on the very top of the mattress, although it's still an all foam mattress. So if I roll over to here, right when you first lay down on this, it's going to feel a little bit softer. You got that little bit of added quilting foam on the top, but it also, you don't have as much of a slow sinking feeling. And I think part of that is because of the quilt. I think it holds you up a little bit more, kind of gives you a little bit more of a floating feeling. But this also works great in all 3 sleeping positions. And if you are someone that sleeps on your stomach all the time, you can get the firmer version of this as well. They have a couple different firmness choices here on the Loom and Leaf. But this is the softer of the 2 options, and it works fantastic in all 3 sleeping positions. So the main differences here with feel, the Cloud Supreme is going to be a little bit firmer, and you have more of a slower sinking feeling, where the Loom and Leaf is going to be a tad softer on the very top, and you still get the body conformance, but you don't have as much of a slower sinking feeling. And then I think the Loom and Leaf, to me, is probably a little easier to adjust positions on as well, and the quilt definitely helps a lot with that too, by keeping you up a little bit out of the memory foam layers. So what we're going to do now is test the motion transfer. I can tell you right up front that these will have excellent motion reduction properties, being an all foam mattress that uses memory foam. So I've got my bottle sitting there. I'll drop the weight over here pretty high up. As you can see, there's very little motion transfer. So if you or your partner are worried about feeling each other move around, you're not going to feel that motion very much. So that was the Tempurpedic. We'll do that same thing on the Loom and Leaf. So you're not going to have very much movement. This is kind of hard to hold set in the right place, having that quilt on there. So you're going to have very little motion transfer. The Tempurpedic might be just a tad better there, not having the quilt, but it's kind of a toss-up. Either one, you're not going to feel your partner move around on very easily, especially if you compare that to a traditional innerspring mattress. Alright, so next up we're going to take a look at the foam response and the bounciness of the foam. So first we'll take a look at the bounce. I'm going to drop the weight, and it's going to give you guys a sense of how much bounce the mattress has. So typically a memory foam mattress doesn't have very much bounce. So as you can see on the Loom and Leaf, I'm getting a little bit of bounce back up. And part of that is in due part to the quilt on the top. Helps provide a little bit more bounce than you'd normally see. So if we do that same thing over here on the Tempurpedic, you can see it just thuds down with not very much bounce or no bounce whatsoever almost. And that is going to be partly because this quilt, like I said, does help a little bit with bounce. And what's going to happen there is the Loom leaf's going to be a little bit easier to adjust positions, like I talked about when I was laying on it, than the Tempurpedic will. I'll do that one more time. Give you a sense of that once more. And like I said, I think a lot of that comes into having the extra quilting foam on here. So if being able to adjust positions is very important to you, between the two, the Loom leaf's going to be a little bit easier to roll around and adjust positions compared to the Tempurpedic. Next up, we'll take a look at the foam response. I'm simply just going to push my hand into the mattresses. We'll get a sense of how fast that foam pops up. So the Loom leaf is going to be a little bit faster. The quilt pops up immediately, and then the convoluted layer of memory foam is going to react a little bit faster than if it were non-convoluted. So you can see the top layer pop up immediately, part of that base layer pops up immediately, and then you can see the memory foam takes a little bit longer to come up. We'll do the same thing here. It's kind of hard to see with this cover because the cover looks like it pops up faster. Unzip that. So we pushed in. Same thing here. I'll try to hold the cover down. So essentially this is going to have a little bit slower reaction time. And we kind of talked about that with looking at the bounce and adjusting positions. So this will have a little bit slower reaction time. So if you are somebody that does have a lot of trouble adjusting positions and that kind of thing, the Loom leaf is probably going to be a little easier to roll around once you've sunk into the mattress. But generally, you know, that slower reaction time comes with having very high quality materials in there as well. The convolution here and the quilt help it with a little bit with reaction time. So between the two, this one has a little bit faster reaction time and a little bit more bounce. Alright guys, so next up we're going to take a look at edge support. So I'll start off here on the Tempurpedic. In the seated position, it's got pretty good edge support. You're seeing the comfort foams on the top sink in a little bit, but once you hit that foam core, it's pretty supportive underneath. I'm more worried about this in the lying down position, so I'm going to lay on the edge of this. I'll do a couple things here. I'll lay on the very, very extreme edge, even with part of my body kind of hanging off. As you would expect, I'm getting a little bit of the roll out of the bed feeling in that extreme edge position. I'll be a little more realistic. We'll move in a couple inches to where you would actually sleep, perhaps on a queen if there were two of you. And being a little more realistic here, I'm not getting a roll out of the bed feeling whatsoever. The Tempurpedic uses, you know, high quality materials, good foam core, so in the seated and lying down position, it performs good with edge support. So next up, we'll look at the Loom leaf. Sit on the edge. Feels about the same. Your comfort layers, again, are sinking in, and once you hit the foam core, it's pretty supportive underneath. It's not sinking in. Neither one of these you're going to have to worry about bottoming out, so they are going to work for pretty much any body weight. But I'll do the same thing here. I'll lay on the extreme edge. On the extreme edge, I get a little bit more of that roll out of the bed feeling than I did on the Tempurpedic, but I will be a little more realistic. Move in a couple inches. And in this position, I am not getting that ejected roll out of the bed feeling whatsoever. So either one of these are going to work just fine in the edge support area. Where this is important is when there's two of you in the bed, especially in like a full or a queen size, because you're going to be sleeping closer to the edge if there are two of you in a smaller mattress. It's not as big of a concern on a king because you have more space, but either way, these perform like they should, especially in the laying down position for edge support. Alright guys, so up next we are going to pressure map these two mattresses And then once we're finished, we'll show you guys the results side by side. But what I'll do is lay down in all 3 sleeping positions. I'll lay on it, it will measure the pressure. I'll screenshot that, we'll put those screenshots side by side, and then I'll go over the results here coming up shortly. So I'll go ahead and get started on that. Alright guys, so after pressure mapping the 2 of these mattresses, I can conclude that they both have well above average pressure relief. I actually pressure mapped them more than once because the results were so close between the 2 that it was hard for me to be able to tell you that one is better than the other. And it still is. I think they perform about equally for pressure relief. As you can see, if you compare the images side by side, it's very hard to say that one's better than the other. If I make a slight movement on any of those positions, it changes the pressure a little bit, so it's really hard to say one is better than the other in this case. So I would say they're about the same for pressure relief and both well above average for pressure relief. Alright guys, so next up we'll take a look at price, warranty, and trial. So if you have been shopping for a Tempurpedic, you probably already know up front that you're going to be paying more for the Tempurpedic name and Tempurpedic brand. But for comparing the Loom and Leaf and the Tempurpedic, this is where a very drastic difference comes into play. So the twins come in at $699, twins on the Tempurpedic $2049, Twin XL $799, Twin XL on the Tempur $2374, fulls for $949 on the Loom and Leaf, fulls on the Tempur $2524, queens $1099 versus $2524, kings and Cal Kings on the Loom and Leaf $1399, on the Tempurpedic $31.99. And then the Loom and Leaf has a little bit longer warranty at 15 years, longer sleep trial at 120 nights, Tempurpedic warranty 10-year, and a 90-night sleep trial. So it's a pretty big difference here in price. You're looking at, different products. Tempurpedic's a brand that's been around for a long time. They've always been a higher priced product. They're sold all over in stores, so the nice thing is you can go in and at least test those out. If you're considering spending that much money, you can go in and try them at least first. So that is one drastic difference with these 2 beds is the pricing. Alright guys, so who should consider these mattresses? So first of all, on either one, you're going to have to be somebody that likes a true memory foam feel where you have more pronounced hug and sinkage when you compare that to, like, say, a latex or an innerspring mattress. Between the 2, they both have that feel. The Loom and Leaf, like I mentioned before, has the quilt on the top. I feel personally like that holds me up a little bit more, where I don't have quite as much of a sinking feeling, which I personally like. You might, if you're somebody that likes a lot of body hug, you might not like that as much. But it still offers great body conformance, even though it has that quilt that holds you up a little bit more with that extra quilting foam on the top. Both of them provide excellent pressure relief, as you can see on the mapping results. So between the 2, it's really a toss-up for pressure relief in my opinion. And each of these mattresses are going to perform great for any of you that sleep in all 3 sleeping positions. The perk here with the Loom and Leaf, there is a firmer version available, so if you are somebody that's more of a stomach sleeper, you can try out that firmer option is what I would recommend. On the Tempurpedic, this model is only offered in the one Firmness. However, they offer several other models that have different firmnesses. All of them seem to be different prices as well, so you have to look into that a little bit more. Either one of these are going to have a sleep trial. The perk with the Tempurpedic, you can go to any local store in your town and at least lay on them, which I would highly recommend if you're considering spending the amount of money that these things cost. You're not going to have that luxury with the Loom and Leaf as far as going to a local store. Some of you may, where their headquarters are, I'm not sure. But either way, you have the sleep trial here, and you have a sleep trial here as well. But overall, they're both very high quality mattresses. It really just boils down to how much money you want to spend. So if you are a Tempurpedic shopper, you already know what you're getting into for price. Any store, these mattresses should be the same price anywhere you go, because the factory sets minimum allowed prices that the brick and mortar stores can sell them for. So you shouldn't really have to worry about which store you're purchasing it from, or you could just purchase it off their website. But I would definitely recommend going and laying on them first if you're considering, you know, that kind of money for a mattress. So overall, for most of you, it's probably going to boil down to the amount of money you're willing to spend on your mattress. So either choice you make, I believe you'd be happy with. They're both high quality mattresses, but obviously one's a lot more expensive than the other. Performance wise, I think they perform very similar to each other in terms of longevity and quality. One has a longer warranty than the other. The Loom and Leaf has the longer warranty. I would, in my opinion, say that they'd hold up about the same as far as longevity goes. So if you have any questions at all on this review specifically, drop me a message below or head over to our website. There is a tab on the right hand side called Mattress Concierge. Send us some information about yourselves and perhaps some things that you're looking for specifically. I'll personally send you back an email with some suggestions. Otherwise, check out all of our other reviews on the website. Alright guys, thanks for watching.